Over a year since Russian tanks invaded Ukraine, the world still reels from the shock. Cities like Mariupol and Bucha have become symbols of unimaginable suffering, reminding us daily of the war's human cost. This is not just Ukraine's fight, it's a battle for Europe's soul and the future of global peace. What happens in Ukraine will shape our world for generations. If you found this video helpful or moving, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe to our channel. We're a new YouTube channel, and your support helps us get these important stories out to the community. Thank you. Putin's war has escalated, with Russian forces targeting civilians, churches, hospitals, schools, leaving devastation in their wake. These are not accidents, but calculated acts of terror meant to break Ukraine's spirit. The world must demand an end to the bloodshed and support Ukraine's resilience. Even in darkness, the courage of the Ukrainian people shines as a beacon of hope. Chernihiv's historic Transfiguration Cathedral, a symbol of faith, now lies in ruins, destroyed not for strategy, but to erase Ukrainian identity. Putin's attacks on cultural sites are war crimes, attempts to break Ukraine's spirit. Yet each act of destruction only strengthens Ukrainian resolve. The world must condemn these crimes and ensure justice is served. In the Dnipro, a missile struck a marketplace, killing children and shattering families. These are not isolated tragedies, but a systematic campaign of terror. By targeting the innocent, Putin aims to instill fear and despair. The world must not look away. Justice and support for Ukraine's children are imperative. Mariupol stands as a haunting symbol of Putin's brutality. Mass graves, bombed homes, and unimaginable suffering. Despite overwhelming odds, the city's defenders held out, inspiring the world. The truth of Mariupol's tragedy cannot be silenced. Their sacrifice is a testament to courage and resilience. To understand this war, we must confront Putin's worldview, driven by paranoia, imperial ambition, and a desire to restore Russian dominance. He underestimated Ukraine's resilience and the unity of the West. Now, isolated and under pressure, Putin faces a choice: escalate or seek a way out. The world watches, uncertain of his next move. Whatever the outcome, Putin's legacy is forever stained by the bloodshed in Ukraine. He will be remembered as the architect of a senseless war, not a strong man. The courage of Ukrainians will inspire long after the guns fall silent. The world must ensure justice and never forget the lessons of this war. Despite propaganda, Russia's military struggles and its economy falters under sanctions. Ukrainians, united and resilient, have exposed the hollowness of Putin's claims. The cracks in his regime are widening, and his grip on power weakens. The question is not if but when Putin will be forced to back down, and at what cost. As Putin's war in Ukraine unfolds, the world faces a stark question: how to respond to such aggression. For NATO, the conflict presents a dilemma. Ukraine is a partner, not a member. Some urge intervention, risking escalation with Russia. Others warn it could spark a global conflict. Yet, NATO has shown unity, bolstering Eastern Europe, imposing sanctions, and providing Ukraine with vital military aid. This support has slowed Russia's advance and strengthened Ukrainian resolve. The United States, as NATO's leading member and the world's preeminent military power, has played a pivotal role in galvanizing the international response to Russia's aggression. The Biden administration, drawing on lessons learned from past conflicts and the specter of Cold War brinkmanship, has pursued a multi-pronged strategy aimed at supporting Ukraine, deterring further Russian aggression, and rallying global condemnation of Putin's actions. On the military front, the United States has provided Ukraine with billions of dollars in military aid, including Javelin anti-tank missiles, Stinger anti-aircraft systems, and other advanced weaponry that has proved highly effective against Russian forces. The US has also shared intelligence with Ukraine, helping it to anticipate and counter Russian military movements, and has provided training and logistical support to the Ukrainian armed forces. Diplomatically, the United States has led a global effort to isolate Russia on the world stage, working with allies and partners to impose unprecedented economic sanctions, expel Russia from key international organizations, and condemn its actions in the United Nations. The Biden administration has also engaged in a relentless campaign of public diplomacy, exposing Russian atrocities, countering Kremlin disinformation, and rallying international support for Ukraine. Domestically, the Biden administration has faced pressure to do more to support Ukraine, including calls for a no-fly zone, the provision of fighter jets, and other measures that carry a significant risk of escalation. However, the administration has so far resisted these calls, arguing that they would risk a wider war with Russia, a nuclear power, with potentially catastrophic consequences. The Biden administration has also had to contend with the economic fallout of the conflict, including rising energy prices and supply chain disruptions, which have fueled inflation and posed challenges for American consumers and businesses. The international response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine has been, honestly, swift, decisive, and remarkably unified, showing a level of global cooperation and resolve that, well, we really haven't seen since the end of the Cold War. However, the conflict has also, exposed the complexities and limitations of international diplomacy when faced with naked aggression by a nuclear-armed power. The challenge for the West is to keep supporting Ukraine's right to self-defense without, triggering a wider conflict with Russia that could have catastrophic consequences for the entire world. It's a delicate balancing act, fraught with risk and uncertainty, and it demands careful calibration, strategic foresight, and a willingness to adapt to rapidly evolving circumstances. The outcome of the conflict in Ukraine will have, honestly, profound implications for the future of Europe, the international order, and the global balance of power. A Russian victory wouldn't just be a tragedy for the Ukrainian people, it would also embolden other authoritarian regimes around the world, sending the message that might makes right and that international law is, well, toothless in the face of raw aggression. Conversely, a Ukrainian victory, while far from certain, would stand as a powerful testament to the enduring strength of democracy, the importance of international solidarity, and, the indomitable spirit of a people fighting for their freedom. It would also send a clear message to Putin and other would-be aggressors that the world just won't tolerate such blatant violations of international law and human decency. Amidst all the geopolitical maneuvering, the strategic calculations, and the pronouncements of world leaders, it's honestly pretty easy to lose sight of the human toll of this conflict. The numbers are staggering, the statistics numbing, but behind each casualty figure, each displaced family, each shattered life, there's a story of unimaginable loss, resilience, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. In the shattered remnants of what were once vibrant communities, amidst the rubble of bombed-out apartment buildings and the ghostly silence of deserted streets, the whispers of broken lives echo through the ruins. There are stories of families torn apart by the sudden eruption of violence, of frantic escapes from besieged cities, of desperate searches for loved ones lost in the chaos. We meet Irina, a young mother who fled her home in Kharkiv with her 2 small children as Russian bombs rained down around them. They spent days huddled in a crowded subway station, the air thick with fear and uncertainty, before embarking on a harrowing journey to the relative safety of Western Ukraine, leaving behind everything but the clothes on their backs and the memories they desperately cling to. We also listened to the heartbreaking testimony of Viktor, an elderly man pulled from the wreckage of his apartment building in Mariupol after weeks of relentless bombardment. He speaks of his wife, his childhood sweetheart, buried beneath the rubble, their dreams and memories entombed together. His voice cracks with grief as he describes the horrors he witnessed. The stench of death, the cries of children trapped beneath the debris, and the slow, agonizing realization that his life as he knew it was gone forever. Children see conflict through a lens of imagination, even as the war surrounds them. 7-year-old Artem, in a Lviv bomb shelter, draws tanks and jets, his way of making sense of chaos. He tells us he's creating a world where war is just a game, and no one gets hurt. Artem's story is a powerful reminder of resilience and the hope children cling to, even in the darkest times. The physical scars of war, the bombed-out buildings, the shattered infrastructure, the ravaged landscapes, are stark and undeniable. a constant reminder of the destructive power of conflict. But the invisible scars, the psychological and emotional wounds inflicted on individuals, families, and entire communities, run deeper, often taking years, if not generations, to heal. The trauma of war manifests in countless ways. In the nightmares that haunt the sleep of those who have witnessed unspeakable horrors, in the anxiety and fear that linger long after the bombs have stopped falling, in the survivor's guilt that weighs heavily on those who have lost loved ones, in the shattered dreams and aspirations of those whose lives have been upended by conflict. We meet Maria, a retired teacher who now volunteers at a center for displaced people in Lviv. She speaks of the constant fear that gnaws at her, the fear for her children and grandchildren scattered across the country, the fear of the unknown, the fear that the life she built over decades could crumble around her at any moment. We listen to the stories of soldiers returning from the front lines, their bodies bearing the physical wounds of battle, their minds grappling with the invisible scars of trauma, the nightmares, the flashbacks, the survivor's guilt, the difficulty readjusting to civilian life. These are the hidden costs of war, the burdens that these brave men and women will carry with them long after the fighting has ceased. The war in Ukraine is not just a regional conflict, a distant war fought on foreign soil. It is a global crisis, a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the interconnectedness of our world. The images that flash across our screens, the bombed-out cities, the fleeing refugees, the grieving families, are not just news footage. They are a collective mirror reflecting the depths of human cruelty and the enduring power of hope and resilience. This war has shattered the illusion of peace in Europe, exposing the raw ambition and brutality that lie beneath the veneer of civilization. It has tested the limits of international diplomacy, strained alliances, and forced the world to confront uncomfortable truths about the nature of power, the persistence of conflict, and the enduring threat posed by authoritarianism in the 21st century. The world is watching, holding its breath, wondering how this conflict will end, what the ultimate cost will be, and what lessons we will learn from this tragedy. The outcome of this war will have profound implications for the future of Europe, the international order, and the global balance of power. It will shape the world we live in, the world we bequeath to our children for generations to come. The stakes could not be higher. A Russian victory would not only be a catastrophic defeat for Ukraine, a nation fighting valiantly for its survival. It would also embolden other authoritarian regimes around the world, signaling that might makes right, that international law is meaningless, and that the strong can bully the weak with impunity. It would be a victory for tyranny, a blow to democracy, and a harbinger of a darker, more dangerous world. Yet amidst the darkness, glimmers of hope persist. The courage and resilience of the Ukrainian people, their unwavering determination to defend their homeland, their refusal to be cowed by aggression, serve as an inspiration to the world. The outpouring of support from nations and individuals across the globe, the humanitarian aid, the military assistance, the sanctuary offered to refugees, is a testament to the enduring power of human compassion and the fundamental belief that we are all interconnected, that an attack on one is an attack on all. This war has reminded us that freedom is not free. It must be defended, nurtured, and fought for, sometimes at great cost. It has shown us that democracy, though fragile, is worth defending, even in the face of overwhelming odds. And it has underscored the importance of international cooperation, the need for nations to stand together against aggression, to uphold the rule of law, and to strive for a world where disputes are settled through diplomacy, not violence. The war in Ukraine is a tragedy, a stain on our collective conscience. But it is also a call to action, a reminder that we cannot be bystanders to history, that we all have a role to play in shaping a more just and peaceful world. We must continue to support the people of Ukraine in their hour of need, to hold Russia accountable for its actions, and to work tirelessly to prevent such atrocities from happening again. We must never forget the lessons of this conflict, the human cost of aggression, and the fragility of peace. For in the end, our shared humanity depends on it.